Welcome to Jamie TV, thank you for tuning in. In this video I'm going to recommend 3 very different games for the Spectrum Next, made by Rusty Pixels. Baggers in Space is without a doubt one of the best games I've played on the Spectrum Next. With any truly great game, there's always potential for a sequel, but as we all know, making a sequel to any revered creative work can be a minefield. Get it wrong and you risk souring the legacy. The fan base wants more of the same, and they want the quality to be just as good, if not better. This pressure often leads to convoluted overcomplication, failure, and living out the rest of your days hiding in a flower pot dressed as a daffodil named Rodney. Rusty Pixels approached this dilemma by making Baggers in Space 2, the Detour, exactly the same game as the original. The premise is the same, the plot, the mechanics, the design, the controls, but what is new is a whole host of fiendish new levels that up the difficulty level right from the word go. You really have to learn these levels, where the oxygen, idols and health power-ups are, and remember where every fiendish fiend and merciless trap is located. Whereas in the first game, I found I could get away with taking some risks and just going for it, and I'd clear a level by the skin of my teeth, but I cleared it. The level design here is what makes the game a cut above. I mean, seriously, this is some really clever stuff. So if you loved Baggers in Space, completed that glorious game and are hungry for more Jetpack meets hero goodness, and you thrive on a challenge and can afford to replace a few joysticks smashed in childish temper tantrums, then mug a granny and get it bought. But I don't suggest you play this one if you haven't played Baggers 1 to get your skills up. I warn you, the Detour is not for the pissy pants gamer. Now on YouTube, where sometimes it feels like every single sentence one utters will be disputed by some expert or other, one thing I can confidently say is that everyone loves a freebie, especially a free video game. So let me tell you about a completely free Rusty Pixels game, Scramble. Sure, it's not a groundbreaking original title, but it's a classic. Over the years, I've played many different Scramble games on God knows how many platforms, and some are great, many are just okay, and some really are total pants. But this one is a damn good one. It's about as close to the Konami original as is possible without writing Konami on it. It's an old favourite that for me brings back the sounds and smelly smells of the seaside arcade and pumping all my paper round money into a hungry and ungrateful machine. This version brings just as much joy on the Spectrum Next. It's the best version of the first ever side-scrolling shooter I've ever played. Link in the description, just like for all the other games mentioned in this video. When I was just a 14-year-old nerdy pissy pants teen who still ran away from girls and didn't have a guitar yet, the only thing I loved more than buying a new game for my Commodore 64 was buying a new game for my Commodore 64 that had a Rob Hubbard soundtrack. I read the review of Warhawk in the September 1986 issue of Zap 64, which only gave the game an 80% overall score, and the sound only 90%. But it said it was a Rob Hubbard soundtrack, and it was only £1.99 because it was on the Firebird Silver Range budget label. That was enough for me to jump on an X30 and head off into Sheffield city centre to the somewhat smelly nerd haven that was just Micro, with my Star Wars wallet to buy the game. And at that price, I probably bought chips on my way back to Pond Street bus station. And I'll bet you, a bag of chips, I was listening to Queen's A Kind of Magic album on my knockoff Sideshow Walkman that had the batteries secured in place with sellotape, because I broke the battery door and lost it just like everyone else did. Anyway, back to the plot. 80% was not nearly a high enough score for this stunning Proteus Developments game. One of the very best shoot-em-ups on the C64, without a doubt, and what an epic soundtrack. Rob Hubbard is the main reason I dreamt of making music for video games as an undertall, underspecial, geeky Queen fan. I loved Zap magazine and I bought it religiously, but Gary Penn's summary of this game is so wide of the goal, he missed the net and he kicked the ball into fucking Narnia. and I do wonder if he ever received the Wrongest Man in the Universe award, because he certainly deserved it. The game would also get a port to the Amstrad CPC, Atari 8-bit and Atari ST. Then we jump in the TARDIS and we land in 2009. Michael Ware, one of the original developers of the game, made a new version of Warhawk for the Nintendo DS, along with Lobo on graphics and Space Fractal on audio, which was voted one of the top 20 DS homebrews of that year. This version of the game is not an exact copy of any of the previous versions, more an evolution of the game, same gameplay with new ideas and taking advantage of the DS's capabilities, with the end of level boss taking the place of the frantic mayhem of oncoming ships that ensued at the end of the C64 version. I understand that originally the C64 game was meant to have end of level bosses, but these were removed to reduce comparisons with the arcade game Star Force. For the YouTube screen ratio, a DS screen grab is hard to know what to do with. Whatever you do, it just looks arse in a video. Now, the TARDIS takes us forward in time again to spring 2020, when Michael Ware, now part of Rusty Pixels, with the assistance of Jim Bagley, Lobo and Space Fractal, would release a version of Warhawk for the Spectrum Next. The original first Kickstarter version, and this is without a doubt the ultimate version of the game. As the game loads up, you see old-style graphics convert to a much more impressive rendering, which acts as a mission statement that the game will not let you down on. In fact, it doesn't disappoint in any way. Every level has new and impressive backgrounds in different styles, and there are a ton of different enemy craft and obstacles to contend with. Everything looks amazing. It's the kind of shooter where you have to memorize the patterns of oncoming enemies and work out how they move. You play, you die, you learn, you play again, and you keep trying to get one step closer to the end of level boss, who will marmalize you until you learn the way it moves and the way it attacks, and then you figure out how to destroy it. It's uncomplicated, fun, violent, challenging, and thoroughly enjoyable. This is not the kind of game, as a 53-year-old twat that will never grow up, that I would normally put on and play for hours. Usually for me, a great shooter is something I'd put on for a quick blast regularly, but then move on to something else. But I've played this version of Warhawk for ages and ages. It's superb. A nice quality of life addition to this version of the game is that you can start the game from the beginning of any level you've already cleared, or the one that you just can't quite master yet, because your powers are weak, old man. I don't think there's a physical edition available at the moment, but the digital version is available at the Rusty Pixels website. That works okay for me, but I do love the artwork from the next release and would love to have that on a poster in the studio. Does such a poster exist? I don't know, but I'm willing one into existence. Now, let's talk about the music, because that was the main reason I bought the game almost 40 years ago. The music Rob Hubbard wrote for Warhawk was inspired by a track called The Unknown Planet by John Keating. For the next version of the game, Space Fractal revisited that piece of music and took inspiration from that and Rob Hubbard's original Warhawk composition, and made something new but in keeping. And it's fabulous. It suits the game perfectly. I'm quickly becoming a fan of this guy's work. So that's it really. It's awesome. If you have a Next and you like shooters, this is for you. If not, why the hell are you still watching? Go wash the pots and feed the cat, you saddo. If there are retro games you think would make really exciting remakes for the Spectrum Next, comment below this video and let me know. Thank you for watching Jamie TV.